Here's a quick guide on how to ruin your 20s. First and foremost, consume content and get angry.
Yeah, whatever you're surrounding yourself with, if it's not making you feel well, as in neutrally, don't do it. Whether it's people, whether it's content, whether it's animals, an environment, the place you live in, the foods you consume, other things you put in your skin and whatnot.
If you are getting angry, you are being monetized. Do not ask questions that may sound stupid.
Yeah, you should always ask questions, not to people, but to yourself, if it comes from within. If you are curious about the topic, yeah, that especially if most people would find it weird, you probably are well mentally. And then just research about it. Try to find something. It might take years for you to get the answer you're looking for, but once you get that answer, you'll be like, I knew it.
99% of the time, everyone else is thinking the same question as you anyway, and whoever asks it first will be seen as the fool for.
Yeah, in our society, we have been sort of programmed to basically ridicule everybody who thinks differently. That's how the elite managed to kind of peer pressure people into staying within the lines.
However, to ensure a restless night, crank up a stimulating video before bed. Cram your brain.
There is absolutely no problem with watching a video before bed, for as long as it's not going to, as he's saying, stimulate your brain in a way too exciting way. If it's a neutral, you can even learn something as long as it doesn't turn your brain into doing mode. You can watch it just fine.
With information and hold the screen right up close for a maximal dose of blue light.
Using your phone is just fine for as long as it's somewhat distance from your hand. I mean, if you have a chair with some arms, you can just put your elbow against one of the arms and just hold it at like what, half a meter, something like that, a little bit more, I guess. Perfectly fine, no bother. As long as you're in the dark, that the light from that puny screen is not gonna be messing up with your circadian rhythm. And if you put, which I do, a you know those glass covers you put on your screen to protect them, you there exists that has a blue light filter.
Do tons of stuff like a rabid dog, but do not reflect. Search for the.
I don't understand what he like a okay I think he didn't use the proper the proper pronunciation. Mm. Yeah, you shouldn't be acting on impulse if you are not biochemically well. But if you are biochemically well, you should always act on impulse, just like a kid who does whatever he feels like doing whenever he feels like doing. Yeah, don't be reflecting way too much unless you're talking about purchases. Maybe if you're, yeah, any decision that you're gonna take that's gonna affect you for a while. Yeah, just, yeah, I would ponder, because in our world it's not like we are just surrounded by natural stuff. So yeah, you do have to wonder, to ponder, is this going to be good for me, like getting married with this girl, or just forming a family? Does she have a good history? Does her family have a good history, etc, etc.
Next thing and the next thing and the next thing. Don't.
Yeah, that's basically capitalism. You they promote you foods that make you unsatisfied with life. Yeah, whenever you don't feel truly satisfied, it's because your biome isn't satisfied with what you've been feeding it. And then they just promote the net thing and net things and the net thing, so that you become convinced that it is traveling and getting new devices and new clothes and new that's gonna finally make you happy, but it's just a temporary contentment. It's like the people who are always driving their car very fast and they going on motorcycles and traveling all the time and going to exercising a lot because they feel so unwell within themselves or running or whatever that when they are on that marathon or whatever, just like David Goggins, he feels so unwell within himself that the only way he can kind of distract himself from how low the peace within him is, that only like pain, physical pain, is the only thing that gives him relief.
Workout, as it can get you real sweaty. This
In this case, I know he's being sarcastic like all the rest of the video, but yeah, you should actually not work out ever. You should try to sweat as little as possible, because I mean, if you're sweating because your body is just refreshing, you just drank some water and you are in a warm climate, yeah, perfectly fine. But if you're sweating as in the result of a strain, yeah, you should never exercise. You should never do an exertive movement. Only suave movement is good for us. I mean, your face is telling you it's not good for you. Whenever you make it, yeah, don't do whatever you're doing.
discipline is not freedom. Do whatever.
For sure, yeah, and I did read a good portion of that book by that guy. Yeah, discipline. I mean, if you talk about having the discipline to only consume natural things from within all of the crap that we have available in supermarkets and restaurants and whatnot, yeah, it does equal freedom. But from within, just having natural stuff, rest when you feel like. If you don't, like the example of the phone, if you don't use way too much bright lights and way too much excitement at night, you'll go to bed kind of early, so you'll naturally wake up like half an hour before sunrise. Yeah, so you can pretty much just live undisciplined like a kid for as long as you surround yourself with natural things.
You feel you should do. Remember that
Yeah, again, he's being sarcastic, but you should always do what you feel like doing. People are having jobs because they need to pay their bills. I mean, we only have bills because we have conveniences. If you just go to the middle of the wilderness, you pay zero bills. You find a comfortable rock shelter that you can close at night so you can relax comfortably in security. You can just hunt for free wild meat, which is gonna give you the best overall feeling you've ever felt. Everything that is good for us, I mean, rest, sun, food, the real human food, I mean, everything is free. You have to understand that you only have a job because you want to keep an artificial computer, an artificial phone, an artificial already a cut piece of meat in the fridge, an artificial dwelling, etc.
everything is an addiction after all, right?
No. If you only surround yourself with natural stuff, you don't feel whatever he is describing. If anything, during the autumn, the time when nature's candy, nature's sweets, as in fruit, mostly berries, and honey are available, yeah, there you can call it that because they mess up with your brain so that you feel inclined to eat more so that you fatten up for winter. It's a survival mechanism just as much as milk makes you horny, you want to suck on that teat. I mean, it is what it is. And it has morphine, and yeah, it has growth hormones to make sure that you survive that very frail period of your life. That's why you should never consume that when you're an adult.
Feed the one you prefer and make sure you have the same addictions as other people, so that
Yeah, just live naturally. You won't have to worry about anything of this. But he does have a point that the people that surround us in society, which is totally natural, and naturally you just be surrounded by your family, your tribe. and you could be all naked and it would be fine, sure. But as in, we live with a bunch of people who have completely different views of life, etc., etc. That's completely unnatural. But yeah, if you live naturally, you let them be how they want to be, and you be you, your tribe, the tribe you create, not your parents. Let them eat legumes and all grains and destroy their health, whatever. But you do live naturally. You do follow your instinct. You do consume only things found in nature that you, in their natural state, that you naturally feel inclined to consume. That's the only rule ever in life. Natural things in their natural form if you naturally feel inclined to them. As in, for example, only be out in the sun if you feel like it. If you feel like shading, go to the shade. If you don't feel, which none of us do, inclined towards eating raw roots or raw leaves, don't eat them. But if you feel inclined to eat raw meat, which all of us have, just eat it. I mean, and I'm talking natural context in which all animals are healthy. So if you're buying commercial, just buy ruminants. It's the safest thing we can have because they filter out very well what they eat. They have four compartments in their stomach and they basically puke and much again.
Make it easier to connect. Impressing others
It is important to connect with your family. I mean, if you don't have children, just get a couple of dogs, let them make company to each other, go for walks. If they want to come, let them come. If they don't let them just stay at home. If you are biochemically well, you always feel well just by yourself with seeing one friend or whatever once in a while, and just being surrounded by the dogs that you can pet a little bit. Yeah,
is what really matters in life, and now
yeah, you should never um, go beyond what comes from within. I mean, if you feel like singing, sing. If you just like your dogs or your kids, the kids that you know do. If you feel like jumping, jump. If you feel like resting, rest. If you feel like waking up, wake up. Like there's no instructions needed for life for as long as you surround yourself with natural things and you just trust your senses. Yeah, so naturally, even though the whole world might be telling you you should consume greens and cruciferous vegetables and whole grains and legumes and berries and my senses are telling me otherwise. So I won't do that. You do you. Let them do whatever they want to do. Let them consume drugs, like them, which everybody does. It's pharmaceutical, but it's still drugs.
this is even easier with social media. You should also
There's nothing inherently not so great about social media. I mean, it allows you to, in my case, to share my point of view. In the case of this guy, the same. I mean, as long as you use it and not let it use you, perfectly fine. I mean, if you are biochemically well, you naturally just are outside with your, is this elbow the word in English? Yeah, your shoulder against the like a pillar or something, and you're just enjoying the wind just like a dog would do. Yeah, just chilling. When life gives you lemonades, make lemon. Life will be all like, what?
always pay attention and listen to what everyone tells you, as they are always right and you're always wrong.
This is a very important take, and it has a lot of nuance. You see, from my perspective, if you have three people who haven't talked with each other, for example, you go to the cafe and you meet a friend, don't drink coffee though, just go there as a social place. Drink good mineral water if you wish, or just pay to use the place, whatever. Then you are at your home with your parents, and some days later you are with some whatever colleague from school, and you mentioning the same team, and these people who haven't even talked with each other about it, they all tell you the same idea. I mean, from my perspective, it's a good idea that you follow it. For example, Brian Johnson, that vegan guy who used to look so much better. Uh, he once asked a bunch of different people what did they think if she should or not put her wife like on in court, and they all told him no, just pay whatever she wants. And because he went against the mass recommendation, and I'm not talking the mass recommendations as what you find in videos, I'm talking about something personalized that you receive from different places. There was no confounding, people didn't influence each other when they gave you that opinion. And yeah, long story short, it would have been better just paying her and just relaxing. And in my case, I've done a lot of things that where a bunch of people in this sense were telling me not to. I did it anyway, and I ended up taking the conclusion that it would have been a better decision to follow, yeah, that mass idea. And the opposite, thankfully, has happened, where I was very fixated on an idea. For example, for a house, I was fixated on a very high ceiling, and a bunch of different people like that didn't talk with each other. They were all recommending me a certain height, and it all matched the number that they were all giving me. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna give in, and I'm very thankful and happy that I did so. Even things that I just made were kind of like weird for me to wrap my head around it, but because I trusted this sort of guidance from life, it worked out okay. But if you just have one person telling you something, I mean, it's just an idea. Don't don't be giving too much value to it. It's you should listen, ponder, ask somebody else who doesn't know that first person, and then kind of, yeah, decide from there. You can get most good decisions on life doing something around this. It's very powerful to listen and to trust the things that come to you, even if you don't ask for them. I mean, this guy didn't ask for a weirdo to make a review on his video, but if he is humble enough, he can learn a lot from this, as I can learn a lot from the comments that people leave in my videos if I'm humble enough to ponder what they mean to say and not just what they are actually saying.
Make sure you stay connected with everyone all the time. You do not want to experience the fear of missing out on stuff. Be a
Naturally, in your tribe, you're connected to mostly everybody most of the time. You can just look at your kids or your dogs or whatever. A bunch of time they just want to be by themselves, but they are always nearby and whatever. So yeah, just understand that what happens in the internet or other people's lives, which completely differs from your tribe, your family, it's just whatever is happening there.
consumer, not a creator. The internet
Ah, okay, I know what it means. I mean, no problem with consuming. I remember Steve Jobs couldn't wrap his head around making a TV product because he found that computers woke people up, woke their brains up, make you reason more, and that TVs make you do the opposite. But then he realized, I mean, I'm thinking this is the reason he eventually actually ended up making Apple TV and all the iTunes video, movie content, TV shows, is because, from my perspective, I conclude that he eventually found out that there is nothing inherently not good about you winding down at night. So yeah, just Create if you feel like creating. I'm creating, you created this video. If you just feel like consuming at night a little bit, whatever. I mean, if nobody consumed, nobody would have any purpose of producing or creating anything.
Unlock this, and now it is your duty to keep going. Do not update your worldviews. One of the best things
Oh, worldviews. I mean, traveling is a cope. Career is a cope. I mean, unless you're eating truly naturally, you will never feel very satisfied with your life. This is probably as far as you will need to go with changing your worldviews.
can do, especially if you're unsure what you're passionate about, is to wait.
I mean, everybody knows what you're inclined to do. I mean, my dogs, when they feel like jumping, they just jump. When they feel like running, they just run. If you just trust what you feel like doing, do you feel like creating a video reviewing a guy who made a video about your 20s? Do it. That's what I'm doing. Later in the day, I will have to edit this video and post it. And if you feel like writing a play, write it. If you feel like developing some software, do it. If you feel like making a website or whatever, just do what you feel inclined to do.
For inspiration to strike. Do not spend time thinking.
I mean, if you have a job that you need to have to pay the bills or whatever that you for now have, you should always downsize as much as possible. The thing is, if you are choosing a place to get a paycheck from, a place as in an occupation, choose an occupation that better aligns with you.
About things yourself. Do not read books, as books are for old people.
I mean, books are kinda pointless unless it's for entertainment, like Origin by Dan Brown, which is very good, very aligned with what we have today of the AI. The thing is, when reading a book, you get educated, which is by far what you should not be doing. There's a saying by the character Yoda, like there are a whole bunch of nice sayings by the character Buddha, by the character Jesus Christ. And that saying is you gotta unlearn what you have learned, because you should never learn anything that is more than encyclopedical knowledge about the plants and the animals and the place you live in, and your biology, your wife and kids biology, your dogs or whatever pets biology. I mean, that's as much as you should learn, and that's just a consequence of living. But as in books, I mean, the only book I have found ever some value was Joe Dispenza's, because you understand the power of your vibe. I mean, your vibe defines everything. It's not like karma doesn't work. It works, but if you get robbed, it's not because you robbed somebody. It was because you robbed yourself of something.
Remember to eat fast food, as there's no time to waste.
I eat fast food on every meal because I just open the fridge, I take a piece of lamb, I just cut it and eat it. It's even faster than fast food, so we should possibly call it flash food. I like this name. You should always consume flash food. I mean, cows just go up to the grass and just start munching on it. And if it's green and moist, the better for them, for their health. So it is the same for us. I mean, two advantages: quick and more nutritious. I mean, only do this if we're talking about ruminants. And ideally, smaller ruminants, you might not be so well at digesting beef. I mean, if you can get wild game, why not? But other than that, what's available commercially, yeah, I wouldn't touch anything I guess in the autumn, some how do you call organic fruit.
while also decreasing the number of minutes you stay asleep.
The only good recommendation I have found in the medical community is be in bed around 8 hours before you have to wake up. Because even if you take around half an hour to fall asleep, half an hour you wake up during the middle of the night, still you will still sleep around 7.5, which is what most of us kind of naturally incline towards. But you should never sleep nor more nor less. You just follow what your inclination is. And please know, if you're not biochemically well, if you don't eat the right foods, the natural ones, you will kind of feel a will to wake up, but your body just weighs a ton.
Cool to never figure out why you feel the way you do.
You feel the way you do. If you feel great, is because of what you're consuming. If you don't feel great, is because of what you're consuming. I mean, you go to a supermarket, the vast majority of foods you find there are, if they are whole foods, they are mostly sprayed with glyphosate, which is basically Roundup spray, and the rest is basically whole, very processed food. I mean, if you just cook your food, you're already processing. You have to understand that. If you give hay to a cow, it will produce less milk. If you cook meat to a lion, it will have less health, and its children even less, and its grandchildren even less.
Aren't we all part of the stars and the universe anyway?
Oh, stars and the universe. I mean, we have no clue if any of those theories are correct. And to be honest, it makes absolutely no difference for our life. Thanks for watching.